To the pupils, staff, and any parents joining us this morning, a very good morning to you. It is Monday, the 18th of January, and the start of our third week of term. And once we get through to the end of this week, we are halfway through this first half of term. Amazing how quickly the time goes. I hope that you had a good weekend, and it was a beautiful sunrise here at Shipwreck this morning. So to launch us into our week, I'm going to hand over to the Rev.
Thank you, Mr. Howe. Good morning, everyone. This pandemic is affecting us very acutely in this country, we are aware, of course, but we're also aware of the needs of people around the world. So please watch out for ways that you can help the children in our Link School in Kenya. Keep your eyes open for email and social media. Of course, this week is a very important week for the United States of America, with the inauguration of Joe Biden as the 46th President of the United States. And so this morning we have a prayer written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. O God, in these turbulent days, when fear and doubt are mounting high, give us broad visions, penetrating eyes, and power of endurance. Help us to work with renewed vigor for a warless world, for a better distribution of wealth, and for our brother-sisterhood that transcends race or color. In the name and spirit of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rev. What's been terrific to hear over these last 2 weeks has been just how engaged you, the pupils, have been in your academic lessons. So we'll go straight to Mr. Jones for a bit of an academic update.
Thanks, Mr. Howe. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to week 3. That's right. It's been great to see so many excellence points being awarded across the college and to see your hard work being recognised. So I'd like to share a few examples with you all in a complete random selection. So in Year 7, well done to Freddie Holgate for excellent engagement and effort in art this morning. That's from Mrs. Thomas. In Year 8, well done to Finn Bakey for fantastic engagement in history. That's from Mr. Parker. Year 9, well done Felix Collar. Excellent effort in geography this week. Work has been completed to a good standard. That's from Dr. Prater. Year 10, well done to Ryan Fry. Excellent participation in our business lessons this week, including good ideas on the Jamboard about pricing strategies, and that's from Mrs. Bailey. In Year 11, well done to Fred Fox. Great attitude shown in today's biology lesson. Very impressive when bearing in mind the unusual circumstances in which he is working. That's from Mr. Littledale. Year 12, well done Charlie Bradbury. Excellent engagement in online criminology lessons and delivery of Christmas homework, and that's from Mrs. McGee. And finally, well done to Toby Coles in Year 13 on completing a fantastic photo shoot at the weekend. That's from Mrs. Krause. A few more reminders before I hand back to Mr. Howe, if I may. So Year 9, first of all, a reminder for Year 9 pupils that a week today is the deadline for your GCSE subject choices. Later this week, you'll be sent a Google form for you to submit your 4 GCSE subject choices, and the deadline is the 25th. I know that Mr. Shaw will have given you some great advice when he met with you on Friday, and I'd like to make a few things very clear, if I may. Please choose those subjects that you enjoy and you know that you will work hard in. Choose those subjects that will give you the greatest chance of success, and don't be influenced by the choices of your friends, please. And finally, take every opportunity this week to get advice and answers to any questions you may have from your teachers, your tutor, and email them in advance or speak to those teachers you have already on Friday evening at the parents' conference. So an important week for Year 9 pupils. Onto the timetable next. We've received some very useful feedback from pupils across all ages. So thank you to those who've taken the time to write to us. We are aware of the amount of screen time in some year groups, and as a result, we will be reviewing the timetable this week. In the meantime, I'd like to stress the importance of taking a break from screens, particularly during the long lunch times. Don't be tempted to swap one screen for another, and it's very important that you get some fresh air at lunchtime. And finally, 2 important reminders about the use of technology during online lessons. Firstly, your cameras must be on, please, so that you are able to engage effectively with your teacher and the lesson. And further to Mr. Howe's video message on Friday, we would ask that you do not use your mobile phones during lessons unless you've been asked to do so by your teacher. At all other times, please leave them in a different room as if you were with us in college. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Now, just under 3 weeks ago, it was the strangest of first days back for everyone at the start of our spring term. But just imagine how strange it must have been if you were a new teacher starting at Shiplake College. And many of you may not be aware of this, but we have got 2 new teachers who have started with us in the common room at the start of this term. They're Mr. Claridge, who's teaching physics, with Mr. Pfeiffer returning to Germany, and Mr. Bradley. And we'll come on to Mr. Bradley, but first of all, rather than me introduce them to you, what I'm going to do is get them to introduce themselves to you. So first of all, over to Mr. Claridge.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the warm welcome that everyone has given me so far from my first 2 weeks here. It's been an absolute pleasure. In these unprecedented times, it has been a roller coaster to say the least. But all the students that I've managed to meet online and all the staff that I've managed to be in contact with while being on campus has been absolutely amazing. I'm really looking forward to actually being able to get in a classroom, being able to use a whiteboard effectively rather than the Jamboards. But most importantly, I cannot wait to get back to coaching football, because being away from that for the past sort of 6 months has been absolutely dire. So I cannot wait to meet all of you in person properly. And with that, I'll pass back to Mr. Howe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Claridge, and for everything that you've done in these opening couple of weeks. Also, with Mr. Walter heading down to Somerset, we have Mr. Bradley as our new head of PE and physical well-being. So I think he's going to say hello and has a bit of a sports update for you. So, Mr. Bradley.
Very good morning, everyone. Good morning, Shiplake. Well, I hope you had a relaxing weekend and an active weekend, of course. Now, I've joined Shiplake after teaching in High Wycombe for the last 13 years. I taught at the Royal Grammar School in High Wycombe, which many of you may know for its rugby, and also at John Hampden Grammar School, which you may know for its football. In my roles of head of hockey and head of cricket, but most recently at John Hampden as director of sport. I'm hugely excited to be joining Shiplake for many reasons, but certainly the sense of community that I've already felt, even in this online time, has really hit me hard, and it's been fantastic to get that. But equally, the beautiful environment that Shiplake has set in, the location of the school, there's so many factors that I'm looking forward to seeing. Now, a few pieces of information about myself. I've always been a very committed club cricketer and club hockey player. Indeed, being quite local to the area, I've played for Reading Hockey Club for several years, and most recently Marlow Hockey Club. But now turning 40 and lockdown, it seemed to put an end to my playing career. But I do currently captain my village cricket club side, so I am still turning out every Sunday when the weather allows. Other bits that I think people should probably know about me is I love my cooking, mainly because I really like eating, and I really believe in that equilibrium between sport and eating. So as long as you're turning out and doing your exercise, I think you can certainly put an extra lump of butter on your Sunday roast, as it were. Now, another thing I love doing is getting down to my allotment, partly to escape the hustle and bustle of my house with 2 small children. And normally my task is just to go and dig my allotment. It does seem as though my wife tends to take the glory of actually planting and growing the vegetables that we get, but I do then enjoy going to cook them. Now, someone asked me what I'm really looking forward to joining Shiplake. Now, at the moment, of course, I think I'm really looking forward to everyone returning to school and getting a full fixture list back on the cards so that we can have our competitive sport, as you probably all absolutely love that area. But in the longer term, I'm joining as head of PE and physical wellbeing, as Mr. Howell said. I'm really focused on ensuring that Shiplake is a school where physical activity matters to everyone, regardless of chosen sporting activity or your ability within that. And I will work on ensuring that we are really highly supportive of one another in achieving success. Indeed, one of my firm beliefs is that elite sport and recreational sport, they are absolutely interdependent upon one another, and I'm sure I'll go into that more as I settle into the school. Now, I've got a few notices to give out as well on that note in terms of the sports programme moving forwards as of today. Over the last 2 weeks, each sport has been doing all sorts of wonderful things, but we're going to try and streamline that so that there's a commonality across the whole college. So, pupils, you will be having G-meets at the start of all of your games lessons, and in those G-meets, the member of staff will be introducing you to the format going forward, but I will quickly go over those. The lower school, of course, has a Tuesday and a Friday game session, so that's when your G-meets will be. And the senior school, we have 3 sessions a week. Now, the aim of this is to get everyone away from their screens, as Mr. Jones pointed out earlier, and where possible, to get you outside of the house. Now, session 1 each week will be posted to Strava. So we've named it the 5K, but really it could be 1K, 3Ks, 15Ks. It could be running, it could be cycling. Depending on where you are, depends what access you have. I know some of you will be in larger urban conurbations where running outside isn't as safe, so you'll be using your gardens. Indeed, if you haven't got a garden, I turned my Strava run yesterday and did 30 flights of my stairs in my house. Strava will track your movement time. And if we can get everyone to 20 or 30 minutes of movement time, that's the real key element. Your second session each week will be looking at practicing skills, so your chosen activity. And there'll be videos on a new Shiplake Sport lockdown website, and you'll have the link to that through your Google Classrooms, and it was also linked through the parent bulletin on Friday. And then to the end of the week, Mr. Bowden has a fitness video where hopefully the whole college, staff included please, can get involved in that. Now we are hoping that you will all take photos or short videos of these sessions and post those into Google Classroom so that you can track what you've been doing and your teachers can also see the evidence of that. Now that leads me on to my final segue of notices, and that's the park run on a Saturday morning. So we've been trying to travel from Shiplake to a primary school in Kenya, and Mr. Bowden took the initiative to set this up. So a few highlights from this weekend. First of all, we had Harry Hogan, an old Viking from 2014, who did a 60-kilometre hike over 12 hours. Joe Morgan and Sam Baker, currently in Year 7, both ran over 10 kilometres, which was absolutely a fantastic effort. We have international elements to this as well. Amelie Jerrick did 70 kilometres of skiing in Switzerland, a current Year 13 student. We have Pong Sunny, a 45-kilometre cycle ride in Hong Kong. Mr. Rowler, 38 kilometres from Dubai. And we had Matt Gold, an old Viking, 27 kilometres from Canberra. So all over the world, people are trying to reach Kenya. In total, we did 1,326 kilometres on Saturday, beating the previous week's 1,050. So this puts us on a total of 2,359 Ks, and we are now just going into Africa, and we are on the shores of Libya, I'm assured by Mr. Bowden, in the capital of Tripoli. So a fantastic effort, and I do hope we keep going. And just to finish off, I'm really pleased to announce we've just confirmed our first virtual fixture for a 3K and a 5K, depending on which year group you're in, against the Oratory School. And we hope that this will be taking place February the 1st and the week of February the 1st, but I will keep you informed on that. Over to Mr. Howe.
Fabulous. Question for you. Do you think Mr. Bradley loves his job? Yes, he does. 10 out of 10. Thank you so much for that. All really exciting stuff going forward. It's not just on the sports field, mind you. In music, one of our music ambassadors, Silas Lee, in Year 10, was recently awarded a merit for his grade 8 piano exam. I mean, to reach grade 8 at any level is amazing. To reach it by Year 10 is a pretty staggering achievement. It's just a reflection of Silas's ability, but also sheer hard work and determination. And the next step for Silas is to pursue and chase after a diploma, which is the highest level that you can go on the piano. So that's something that doesn't happen very often in pupils who go to secondary school. So really, really well done to you, Silas. On the subject of sports and activities, I have a message from Mr. Settle that this Friday afternoon will not run quite as usual, but there'll be remote resources available from the teacher who may normally lead your session, as Mr. Bradley has pointed out. Now, activities, sports, and also online clubs. And over to Mr. Olhausen to tell us a little bit more about the online club that he is running.
Sorry, it's me, is it? Sorry, you caught me. Guilty, already into the chess this morning. Yes, Shiplake College Chess Club started last week. Club membership is available and open to all students and teachers, staff at Shiplake College. All you need to do is get on chess.com, sign up if you already haven't got an account, and email me your username. And I look forward to taking you on at chess.com. Thank you, Headmaster.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olhausen. Anybody that needs inspiration, watch The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, which is one of the must-see series on Netflix over lockdown. Absolutely amazing. Now, in terms of an update on my own New Year's resolution, my fitness routine was not quite as good last week, but I'm going to try and crank it up a bit this week. But my dry January is still intact. Now, research conducted by Strava using over 800 million user-logged activities in 2019 predicts that the day most people are likely to give up their New Year's resolution is January the 19th. So much so that Strava calls it Quitter's Day. But if we can, those who are on their New Year's resolutions, if we can make it through to this day next week, we will be in the home straight and have 1 week to go. So let's not join those millions of people who quit on 19th of January. Now, photography is also back, and Miss Mordew is going to share a bit of the news about some photography competitions that have been running.
Good morning, all. I hope everyone's had a relaxing, screen-free weekend. The photographers are back at it again, and they've been given the task of producing a photo for photo of the week during this next lockdown. All 28 A-level photographers have submitted an image each. It could either be from their A-level projects, which are all on different themes, as you can see, or it can be a photograph that they've taken during a walk, their free time, out on a run, or just something that they've really enjoyed and seen outside. And then we've been submitting these to all of the staff, and they have been voting for their favourite photograph. And the top right was the winner from Alex Davies, and the bottom 5 images there were special mentions to highly voted photographs. Keep your eyes peeled for emails, as we would love to run some sort of whole school photography competition, but possibly later on this half term.
Thank you, Miss Mordew. There are birthdays this week. Happy birthday today. Now, Mr. Brown is going to give us a little thought for the day, I suppose, to send us off into the week.
Thank you, Headmaster. Good morning, everybody. Just before that, can I just remind pupils and parents, if you're watching, just to have a look at my item in the bulletin. It's about safety, it's about safeguarding. I won't run through my list because I'm very conscious that period 1 is about to start. But please be conscious that you need to remain safe when you're online, whether that's online in your own time, but also when you're being taught remotely. So please follow the guidance that is very clearly set out in the bulletin. And if at any point you feel that you yourself or anybody that you know might not be safe, then please, you absolutely have a responsibility to let us know. Final word to Charlie Mackesy, it might not surprise you. I thought in the current climate, maybe a slightly somber one, but it's a ray of hope, and I think we've all got to keep in sight that these days will be over. So this is today's Charlie Mackesy picture, and the message reads, "This storm is making me tired," said the boy. "Storms get tired too," said the horse. "So hold on." Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Now, in closing, one of my priorities over the last couple of weeks, and indeed the last 9 months, has been to try and keep our amazing school community together. And something that we are going to run over this period of lockdown is called An Evening With. And it's going to take place on a Monday evening at 7 p.m. and it will take the form of a conversation with someone each week who has done and is still doing amazing things. And I promise you that if you listen in, you will be fascinated by the stories that you will hear. Now, the first guest of An Evening With this evening is a man called James Timpson, and he is the CEO, so the big boss of Timpsons Limited, and there are over 2,000 Timpsons shops around the UK. His family story is unique. The way he runs his business is unique. If I was to tell you that over 10% of his workforce have been to prison, he also gives all of his staff the day off when it is their birthday. Is this something we could have at school? I wonder. Please, please, please listen to him this evening. If you're wondering, will you, won't you, should you, shouldn't you, if it's 50-50, please do. What have you got to lose by listening in? He has an amazing story. His parents have fostered over 90 children while also driving one of the biggest and best known businesses in the UK. So I'd invite you, the links have been sent to your parents in the weekly bulletin. I'd invite you to listen to that at 7 o'clock. He's an amazing man. Now, after the wonderful news for Mr. Woolner and his wife with the birth of their daughter, I'm going to finish also with more good news to share that Mr. McCraw and his wife have had a baby boy called Fergus, and we wish the McCraw family all our best wishes. So on that note, have a good day, have a great hard-working week, and keep engaging with your lessons and teachers over the next 5 days. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Super. Thank you very much, Ben and Dan.